gamers, gals, non-binary pals. As you may have seen on stream and on MBT's YouTube channel, new series of playing Yu-Gi-Oh has been discovered, and it is the rotation format. It is the idea of having a core set of cards, and over periods of a couple weeks, you would release more and more cards, implement ban lists, have tournaments, etc, etc. Rotation is super cool. I like it. I played a lot of Hearthstone. I truly was the rank 1 legend. We're gonna do a tier list of every single relevant keywords on the word relevant of every single deck in rotation, whatever. So let's get right into it with the best deck of the format. I don't even think I need to explain why, but here's Salamangreat. Do you know how many cards are legal in Salamangreat? They have basically everything. You don't have most of the rank 4 extenders, but you do have Foxy. You've got Spinny. You've got Gazelle. You've got like Triple Circle. Oh, by the way, everything in this format is literally at 3. Like, there's no normal ban list. Like, think of how much shit Rage did during like Toss format. Do you really think that decks in like a 250 card format are gonna be able to like stand up to Rage? Absolutely not. It's basically just not even worth playing anything else, especially when you consider the fact that, you know, 250 other cards exist in this format and could even cleanly answer Salad, because we don't have a lot of removal options in like the extra deck. Like, the only like clean Salamangreat out is Karma Cut in this format, and guess what? Salamangreat can play Karma Cut for the mirror. I can't think of a single reason why this isn't like easily the best deck in the format. Next up, we have Sword Soul Control. If you need a refresher on what she does, during the main phase, if a monster whose effects are negated is on the field, you can special summon her, and she's 25/25. If they special summon a monster, you get to activate a little bonus effect. Hand, you get a special from hand. From the deck, you draw 2 cards. In the extra deck, you get to pop a card. She's basically just like an all-in-one inclusive package boss monster that people can build around. Cards like Lost Wind and Breakthrough Skill and Effect Veiler definitely synergize with Iris Sword Soul, because you just negate one thing and you just summon her and you have a big ass boss monster that basically nothing can really clean me out. It's basically this format's equivalent of fucking like Imperm Multi-Faker. But the problem is, although Iris Sword Soul is a really good card in this format, you don't really have a great place to play her pure. People have tried. Do you really need to be playing Liquid Soldier in this? How many Garnets are here? The card is good, and it's definitely like a super duper powerful card, and I think that the format will more or less temporarily revolve around it. Right now, I just don't think that the deck pure is super amazing. I think that Iris Sword Soul definitely carries the deck, and it definitely makes it better than a lot of other shit on this tier list, but right now, I think it's just not great. Speaking of combo decks, we've got Utopia, which I'm gonna put right behind whatever it's called. Now, Utopia has a little problem where if you negate the rank up, the deck kind of crumbles. There is literally like nothing that just saves this deck from. If I get Karma Cut when I activate my whatever, I just die. Like, when you look at this deck list, you're like, yeah, sure, I can summon out a bunch of level 4s, but then you're like, what happens if I get negated or I can't Xyz rank up? It is definitely one of the much more consistent combo decks within the format. Like, it's cool. It does things. It's got better follow-up than shit like Synchron. So that's why I feel comfortable putting it into tier 2. Speaking of bad combo decks, here's like Junk Speeder. Unfortunately, as much as the MBT video would have liked to make you believe that this deck is super duper cool and it's the greatest combo deck of all time, unfortunately, you don't really have a ton of great payoff. Like, your payoff exactly is Crystal Wing. And if your opponent can push through a Crystal Wing, and spoiler alerts, Salamangreat Heatleo would like to know your location, this deck just crumbles. If you're able to end like Moonlight Dragon plus Omega plus like Crystal Wing, sure, better player. You were truly the greatest duelist to ever do it. But when you consider the amount of investment and the fact that this deck loses to a single negate, that's not good. But again, it's a combo deck in a format where there's only like one good hand trap. So its rogue is just way more fragile and way less consistent and has way less follow-up relative to Utopia and Salamangreat, but you know, it's there. All right, and now for every single deck that's just bad. All right, let's start with Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes is really funny. I don't think I have to really explain why Blue Eyes is, you know, a deck. Blue Eyes very much should just super easily just OTK you out of nowhere. Blue Eyes super easily could just, you know, punch you in the face super hard. And obviously summoning 3,000 attack bodies is really difficult for a lot of decks to get over. Unfortunately, you are playing Blue Eyes at the end of the day, and you don't even have shit like... It's fucking Blue Eyes, okay? Like, this is, like, Blue Eyes is, like, notoriously the most inconsistent fucking deck on planet Earth. Are you trying to tell me that, like, decks that are playing fucking Prisma and, like, Blaze Man, that these are real decks? Spoiler alerts, they're fucking not. And I'm sorry, this deck is just not real. We have Dark Magician. Dark Magician has a lot of cards legal. Like, they have a lot of cards. They have Secrets of Dark Magic. They have, like, Dark Magicians, like, Dark Magic Circle. Yeah, they have, like, Eternal Soul. They have, like, Dark Magic Circle. They have everything, except two things. One, they don't have Magician Souls. So this deck is already, like, you know, on the back foot. Second of all, if you read Eternal Soul, if this face-up card leaves the field, destroy all monsters you control. I wonder if there's a piece of spot removal in this format that heavily discourages people from playing back row-centric decks. Oh, what's that? Salamangreat Rage? Don't play this deck. If you want to lose to Salamangreat, and you want to just, again, play like a fucking Brick City, be my guest. I'm sorry, this deck is just not real. Speaking of decks that lose to Salamangreat Rage, we have normal Pendulum. Ooh boy, Pendulum decks in this economy. I don't even think I have to show you a deck list to explain why the deck that literally is playing fucking shit like Tour Guide of the Underworld to go into Sangan in order to search Pendulum. Do I really have to explain why this deck sucks? Like, if you open fucking Nuclear, you can technically end on a pretty decent board. You can maybe end on like a rank 6. You can maybe end on like 2 rank 4s or something. The problem is, it's so high investment, and 2, it loses to a single interruption. It even loses the fucking MST. I'm sorry, this deck is just not real. I'm sorry, the deck is poo-poo, the deck is caca, and Salamangreat Rage is the greatest floodgate in the format. Speaking of floodgates, we've got Subterror. Subterror, fortunately, is bad. I do not want to live in a world where Subterror is playable. I remember when this shit was meta like 10 trillion years ago, and I had to play against one guy at my fucking locals who would only play Subterror, like 50 floodgates. It was the most annoying shit on planet Earth. I just don't want to have to ever deal with this. Fortunately, Guru is banned, so this deck is just, you know, not real. They're playing Supply Squad. Dog, why are you playing Supply Squad? At the end of the day, guess what? It's a back row deck. Oh, you need to set up your final battle and Raigeki Break and Ledger Book? Oh, what's that? Salamangreat Rage. Beep, beep. I'm gonna run over your family. Speaking of decks that aren't gonna try and run you over, we've got Shinobird. I don't know why Joseph decided, yeah, you know what would represent the ritual archetype really well? Shinobirds. Now, fortunately, a lot of cards are legal for Shinobird to take advantage of. Stuff like pre-prep of rights is legal, stuff like normal prep of rights, and the Shinobird cards are actually pretty strong. We also have fucking incantations, which is insane to think about. But the problem is, Shinobirds lose to a single fucking interruption. I'm sorry. Karma cut them, you effect veiler them. Like, Shinobirds will, like, if you throw any piece of interaction towards a Shinobird player, they will crumble into a million pieces, and they just can't do anything. If you just throw one effect veiler at them, 2,500 is not, like, the hardest thing to out, and even if, like, you can't out it, your opponent still doesn't really have that many resources to do anything with, because they basically just blew like 4 cards on a card that just got negated by a single little fucking effect veiler. It's an OTK deck, which at the end of the day, it's gonna cheese some wins, but more often than not, I'm sorry, Shinobird, you're just not gonna work. And speaking of decks that don't work, we have Hero. I want you to look at the card pool, and I want you to search up Hero. I want you to ask yourself, how many good hero cards are there? Dogma? You're playing dog shit? No good cards, no Stratos. If you want to tell me that like Blaze Man control to go into stuff like Sunrise, to go into stuff like Nova Master is good enough, sure. You can lie to yourself. You can cope and you can seethe. But unfortunately, there's just no good payoffs, and any other payoff that you could possibly have for hero is just done by like Blue Eyes and Shinobird better. If you want to set up a combo board, play one of these decks. If you want to play a shitty OTK strat, probably still play one of these decks because they can OTK. So I'm sorry, but Hero is going to be in the last place. I think Hero is definitely, without a doubt, the worst deck in the format. I'm sorry, this shit is just poo-poo. Maybe Subterror is like a little bit better than like normal Pendulum. But anyways, that's going to be it for the rotation tier list. If you want to join the Discord, join below. and get your cheeks clapped by me. I haven't lost yet, except to exactly Bean Soldier. That dude's way too good.